Alright, so today's lesson is on multiplying decimals. A couple notes and steps for you to fill out before we get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is we always multiply or divide as if there's no decimals. That's going to be the key to it. We're going to be moving some decimals around. First, we're going to go ahead and place our decimals in our answer. We're going to move the number of decimal places in your factors. Then we're going to count that many places in your answer and move it from right to left. And then we're going to go ahead and estimate to check and see if our answer is reasonable. So make sure you have all these steps written down. As well, we're going to be using our little sleeping dog over here to make sure it's a positive or negative answer. Okay. So our first problem we have here is 6 times 0.1. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to move my decimal place in my factor. So I'm going to move this over here. So instead of 0.1, I'm going to have, it's going to be 1. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and multiply 6 times 1 is equal to 6. Now, the next step is, however many places I moved over, I need to actually move back. So I'm going to be to the right hand side, I'm going to move to the left. Because I moved over once for my 0.1, I'm going to move back to the left for the next one. So my final answer is 0.6 is my answer. Okay. It's a positive and a positive, so I know my answer is going to be positive as well. If you like to try to estimate this one, you can. It's kind of tough. I mean, we're going to do 6 times 0 basically. Gets me an answer of 0 because 0.1 is really close to 0 there. So 0 is definitely close to 0.6, so that does work. Alright, number 2, we have negative 3 times 3.03. So we're going to go ahead and I'll do my sleeping dog here first. I have a negative and a positive, so I know my answer is going to be negative. And I'm going to go ahead and move my decimal over here twice. So now I have a question of 3 times 303. Go ahead and stack those on each other. I like putting the bigger number on top, it's just a little bit easier. Gives me an answer of 909. Okay. Now because I moved my decimal place over twice, I need to start on the right hand side and move it back twice. So I have 9.09. And I remember back here my sleeping dog, it is a negative answer. So negative 9.09. I'm going to estimate to check it. I have a negative 3, and 3.03 turns out to be 3. Negative 3 times 3 is 9. Negative 9. So yes, those are close. So that will work. Okay. Number 3, we have negative 2.78 times 2.8. Okay, so in my two previous problems, I just moved one number's decimals. That's all I had to do. Notice that this time I have to do it to both numbers. So I'm going to move negative 2.78 over twice, and now I have 278 there. I'm going to move over 2.8 once there, and now I have 28. So I moved a total of 3 times. So go ahead and let's solve this out. 64, 56, and 62. And then 8 times 2 is 16, that's 22. 2 times 8 is 16. 15. And 5. Add those up. And I get an answer of, let's do it down here. 8, 7. 7,784. I also know if I do my sleeping dog here that I have a negative and a positive, so I know it's going to be a negative answer. And then I'm going to have to go back. I move my decimal place 3 times. So I'm going to start on my right hand side, go back over 3. 1, 2, 3. So I get an answer of negative 7.784. I'm going to go ahead and estimate to see if I'm correct. Negative 2.78 is close to negative 3, and 2.8 is close to 3 as well. Multiply them and I get negative 9. Those are reasonably close to each other. Yes, I know they're over one whole away from each other, but one of the things you look at when you estimate is the place value. This is in the ones column we have our answer. If I had my estimation as being in the tens or the hundreds, then I know I did something wrong with my actual work. Alright, number 4, we have negative 0.7 and negative 0.8. Okay, so we have 2 negatives, so I know my answer is going to be a positive. I need to move my decimal place over once for 0.7, gives me 7. Move my decimal place over once for negative 0.8, gives me 8. Multiply those two together and I get an answer of 56. Again, it is a positive answer. Okay, and now that I moved it over twice, once for each number, I got to move it back over twice. So 1, 2, give me a final answer of 0.56. So my answer is between 0 and 1. So now when I do my estimation here, 0.7 turns into 1, 0.8 turns into 1, 1 times 1 is 1. Those are pretty close to each other. Alright, you have a few problems to go ahead and try. So go ahead and pause your video, try those out, and then we'll look at our answers right here. Alright, number 1, you should have gotten an answer of I did not do my estimation, which I should have done as well, so I'm going to go ahead and do it now with you guys. So estimation will be 9 times 1 is equal to 9. Those are pretty close and reasonable to each other. Number 2, you should have gotten negative 13.94. When I did my estimation, it's about 3 times 4 is your 12, and that is a negative also, so yes, those are close. And then number 3, should have gotten negative 41.148. If I do my estimation, it should be 8 times, this looks like negative 5. Looks like negative 40 would be our answer, and so those are pretty close to each other. And then my final answer there, my final question, we should have got an answer of 36 miles, 7.2 times 5. Okay. Alright, so that is multiplying with